All the news media outlets, from independent to corporately dependent, were covering the firings of Tucker Carlson and Don Lemon yesterday. Big news, big news. I found Chris Cuomo on his new project thing to be particularly interesting in the way that he covered it. Let's take a look-see. Trigger warning, I'm going to stop and talk in the middle of it because that's what I do. So let's get started.
Very big dish.
A very big dish. This is a very big sign. Does he need this kind? Look, the sign is with his name on it is bigger than he is. Is that what you need? Well then, there it is.
Now, as you know, if you watch my show, I don't talk a lot about CNN, certainly me and CNN, pending the outcome of my own litigation.
Ooh, he's got litigation going. That is why I was interested in hearing what Cuomo had to say. I mean, I am definitely about to bust his balls as a fellow paisan. I feel that I have the right to do that.
A lot of this reporting, okay, on all of this is hype. Let's start with Carlson, okay? Look, the exits or ousters or conscious uncouplings or whatever spin winds up coming out with these announcements, all you're hearing is regurgitated and reflected agendas at play.
He is definitely talking about himself. Remember, he was removed summarily from CNN because it was found that his coverage of his brother during the pandemic was too kindly to the brother. The brother, of course, was Governor Cuomo of New York. And I guess he used some of his position, or allegedly used some of his position, to help Governor Cuomo. Governor Cuomo got ousted. There was a whole drama. So he is totally talking about himself right here.
Is how petty the media business can be. Yes, my take is a little different.
Yes, your take is about you.
If you don't like Tucker Carlson, and there's plenty of reason to justify that feeling, but you should have said it.
We did say it. Okay, cue the montage. Fuck it. I'm not going to give you a montage. You already know what was said about Tucker Carlson over the years. I think the words mostly included racist, misogynist, Nazi, fascist, insurrectionist, liar.
Many reports I've seen are guesses. Okay, or they're based off information from those in management or somewhere in power who want you to see things a certain way.
He's talking about himself here. He has probably been dying to talk about his own situation with CNN. Obviously, he said he's in litigation. He probably can't talk about it, but now he gets to talk about it under the guise of talking about what happened to Don Lemon and Schmucker.
I don't know that this decision is as much about money with Tucker Carlson as it is anything loftier than that. All right, why? Carlson is kind of a unique animal.
He is definitely a frickin' animal. Oh, sorry, that is actually quite rude to animals who would not be all okay with separating children from their families at the border and any number of other inhumane things that Tucker Carlson made a lot of excuses for.
He has very big ratings, very big following, but a very shallow base of advertisers willing to fund his act. And in case you had your head in the sand the last couple of weeks, Fox has a big settlement to pay, all right? Hundreds of millions of dollars, which means less money for production, staff, and talent, even someone like Tucker Carlson.
Absolutely not. That is such bullshit. I am calling bullshit. $22 billion is what Fox has. Fox has $22 billion. Even if Tucker cost them a few million, $22 billion. That is greater than the GDP of Luxembourg, where I might add, every man, woman, and child is covered for free universal health care. A whole country covered under free universal health care is the GDP of that country is the same as the value of Fox News. So don't give me any, we couldn't afford Tucker Carlson's salary, which, by the way, happens to be $20 million a year. $20 million a year for this white supremacist to be spewing hate. If Fox is willing to pay Tucker Carlson $20 million for a show that advertisers won't even support, for a show that undermines human decency, if Fox is willing to do that, we have to wonder, what the hell is Fox trying to do here on this planet? There, I frickin' said it. Let's keep rolling.
Now, to those who watched him, in the Fox audience. We get a good amount of crossover here. I've often said my problem with Carlson is he knew better than what he tried to peddle to you. He played to division by feeding into conspiracies and false flag operations that abused a very legitimate interest that he was right to target. He was right to look at questioning government and those that we give power to there in their institutions and their individual capacities.
Terrific. Another fascist.
Yes, yes.
Chris Cuomo, you are fucking disappointing me right now. And I can see why, because 2 seconds ago you said you have a great crossover audience with Fox.
But he didn't do it the right way. And I am not going to celebrate him being gone just because I don't like how he did his job.
I am. I'm going to celebrate him being gone because I don't like how he did his job and I don't like the outcome of his horrible frickin' job. What, haven't you ever seen The Wizard of Oz, Chris? Ding dong, the witch is dead. They all celebrated. Hello. You're probably not going to celebrate it because you, like Megyn Kelly and some of these other people, are all trying out for the job now.
But I also know there are shows like this one that do go at power and those in power without faking it.
Do you realize, Chris, that when you were at CNN, you were power?
Now, as for Don Lemon, look, that's personal for me, all right?
I mean, he used to eat my provolone out of the break room when I was there without even asking me, but, you know, I still freaking like the guy. Okay, I might even offer him a spot right here on my network. You know, he'll bring his audience of people who love him and relied upon him for hard-hitting journalism. All 2 of them.
I wish him well. And I'm sure he has more TV ahead of him if he wants it. He's incredibly talented. I don't know much about what happened there, but I will say he loved working at CNN. And he worked there for a long time.
Wow, that's some hard-hitting reporting, Chris. He loved working at CNN, probably, maybe, because they frickin' paid him $4 million a year. I'm sorry, I don't feel sad for him losing. I mean, people can't feed their children in this country. And this is what we're talking about. Big, wealthy people getting fired. Don Lemon's getting fired is like, oh, the main reason we're talking about Tucker Carlson getting fired is because he's a fascist sympathizer, if not an outright fascist Nazi himself, that has a huge platform. Remember, Hitler gave everybody radios so they could hear him talk. And that didn't work out so great.
In both of these buzzy situations today, I do think you should examine how these companies chose to end their relationships with some of their main players. I wonder if it matters to you guys.
It does not matter to us, only in the fact that there's one less fascist on the air, if only for the next week until they find some other lowlife to come on and take his place.
I'll tell you what. It matters to those in the ranks of this business. How the company treats you on the way out matters.
Oh, we don't give a shit. We don't care. What, you're going to have an uprising against CNN or Fox? Give me a break.
In case you need reminding, this can be a tough business.
You know what's tough? Teaching 27 school children every day in and day out for $30,000 a year. I don't understand. You want us to feel sorry for you? I mean, I'm sorry, but I've seen this before. I've seen people come from sort of the underdog class. I believe his grandfather was an immigrant, somewhere down the line was an immigrant, came over with no money, made good. I believe they had grocery stores, and they still think that they are one of the underclass and with the underdog.
The media is tougher than anything I've ever seen, even tougher than politics.
Oh, cry me a big freaking crocodile tear.
Hunter S. Thompson said it best. The TV business is uglier than most things. It is normally perceived as some kind of cruel and shallow money trench through the heart of the journalism industry. A long plastic hallway where thieves and pimps run free and good men die like dogs for no good reason. Joining me now, Bill
O'Reilly, after a quote about how good men die for no good reason. Bill O'Reilly, who paved the way for Trump, who paved the way for Tucker, who is paving the way for ecocide, femicide, insurrection, genocide, death, all things inhumane. Excuse me while I frickin' celebrate his exit. I didn't realize that Chris Cuomo had gone so far to the right. He has the name Cuomo from his grandfather, Mario Cuomo, one of the most liberal politicians that the Democratic Party had back in the 1980s. What a disappointment. You know, he left CNN. He could have gone Young Turk style to the left, but he knows where the money is, spewing hate. So, of course, he has nothing negative to say about Tucker Carlson being exited. He didn't say anything. He said positive things about Tucker Carlson, probably because he wants the job. What are you doing? Not saying that a fascist is a fascist. Stick up for your values if those are your values. Maybe they're not. Maybe you're too many generations removed from the poverty that brought your grandfather over, from the oppression that he suffered, that now if the policies that you are espousing are okay because you are saying that what Tucker Carlson said in a lot of respects are okay because you are not tearing him down, those same policies that oppressed your grandparents and made them have to move and pick up and leave their country and come to somewhere else, you're espousing those now. This kills me. My name is Julianna Forlano. You can find me on the Political Voices Network or over on my own YouTube channel. Hey, if you're watching this, I forgot to ask you for clicks all throughout the way because or likes or thumbs up or comments because I was enjoying making this content. So I'm going to ask you now. It really helps. Thank you very much. And I'll see you next time.
Republicans say they won't cut Social Security, Medicare, or Medicaid. But can honest, hard-working middle-class Americans really believe what these politicians say? Republicans said they wouldn't overturn Roe v. Wade. Here's what Supreme Court Justices Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, and Coney Barrett said during their Senate confirmation hearings.
Roe v. Wade. It is a precedent of the United States Supreme Court. A good judge will consider it as precedent of the United States Supreme Court.
Roe v. Wade. It's settled as a precedent of the Supreme Court.
Roe is not a super precedent, but that doesn't mean that Roe should be overruled.
Well, we saw how that turned out. They played us for fools. Tell your elected officials to keep their hands off of our Social Security and health care benefits. Fool me once. Let Majority Rule was responsible for this message. LetMajorityRule.org is a project of the Marvin Lucas Super PAC, which is responsible for and paid for this ad and is not affiliated with or authorized by any political campaign or candidate or candidates committee.